Well, good morning. Today is the 25th of May 2023 and I'm going to send a feedback to the Department of Transport because I was provided, let's say, with a link by a guy who makes excellent videos. He's from Sydney. He made an excellent video on the Cross River Rail project, in which I will now read out that suggestion. My suggestion includes creating the new line pairs before the Cross River Rail is opened, such as Ipswich to Brisbane Airport. Also, all Ipswich line trains would run all stations to Darra, then Indooroopilly and Milton, and then on to Brisbane Airport. Springfield trains could follow the Ipswich expresses by 7 minutes out of Darra. Why 7 minutes? 5 minutes is too tight and 10 minutes is too long to wait. That's just a brief comment that I've made there, and I'll see what kind of response I do get back from them. Yeah, well, it's the 25th of May 2023. Actually, I made a brief video, and I'm going to put this with it because I think more needs to be said about the subject of the Cross River Rail, which of course is said to be opening in early 2026, or some people say it's late 2025, but that doesn't matter at the moment. But I would like numerous people, including the Queensland Government obviously, and Queensland Rail and so on, to consider what is happening over the time. They're doing a good job. I've noted some really good videos on progress being made on the Cross River Rail project, and of course a lot of that is excellent. But I had suggested briefly to Department of Transport on their webpage that some of the proposals for when the Cross River Rail opens could in fact be acted upon now, that is to say within the coming few months, with a new train timetable. And I did touch on that on the other brief video, but really I was talking about Ipswich to the airport being created now, that is to say the link, and of course the Gold Coast to Caboolture and the Sunshine Coast to be done now, that is to say from the next available timetable. All other alterations that will be done I'm not worrying about going into, but there's going to be different pairs of destinations from one line to the other. So those are the two that I'm concerned with at the moment. Now, in the case of the Ipswich line, I have suggested that they do every train, no matter, all day, every day, be run express. To run express from Darra to Milton, stopping only at Indooroopilly. But now, according to Paul, who is the guy who puts out those excellent videos in Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane on those subjects, has also said that that will happen, but there will be an additional stop at Toowong. So they must have decided that Toowong really did deserve to get additional services. Well, I don't object to that. That's not too bad. It's an absolute pain in the neck to have to travel all stations on the Ipswich line at present. Also, I don't know if anyone viewing this would have any further information on the subject, but I understand increased frequencies will occur on that Gold Coast line and probably on the Sunshine Coast line when the duplications are completed, or they can even operate earlier than that to, in other words, go to a service once every hour to Nambour. An example of the hourly services already exists. In other words, there's an 8:30 train and there's a 9:29 AM train Monday to Friday. So we know that can be done. Well, I'd just like to see that progress earlier, in other words, in the Cross River Rail opening. As I said about the express trains on the Ipswich line, and about the pairs between the Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast. So there are other things that could be said, and I guess I'd like to have some questions or comments or suggestions or whatever in here, like some in a polite and civil manner, of course. And I would hope there'd be much more progress than what is now proposed, which, as I said, is late 2025 or early 2026. So I welcome any thoughts on this, and I'd like to hear from people. So thank you for viewing.